Okay, so here's a close-up of the twinkly lights, and I just wanted to show you them side by side. So I'll take this right here, and this is the Govee light. So the Govee light might look a little bit bigger, the bulb might look a little bit bigger, but it's not. So notice the Govee light doesn't have any diffusion on it, it's just a clear coating over the LED. Whereas the twinkly light has like a diffused cover on it, circular cover. So I'm going to show you the differences on some lights that I put up outside. But before I do that, I'll show you what they look like right now with the lights off. These are the twinkly lights. They are very bright, and I love the diffusion on the twinkly lights. It gives a nice clean look to them, and they're still very bright. Okay, and here are the Govee lights. Now, as you can see, it doesn't have that diffused look that the twinkly lights have. So it's kind of harder to get it on camera, but it just doesn't have that diffused look, so the light comes through a little bit sharper where the bulb is. So you just see that LED, whereas with the twinkly lights you can't see it. It's like a nice smooth look. The Govee lights still look good, but in my opinion the twinkly lights look better. I'll show you what they look like side by side. Okay. So here we have the twinkly lights and the Govee lights. In my opinion, the twinkly lights just look more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. The Govee lights still look good, but they would look even better, in my opinion, with the diffusion that the twinkly lights have. Now, even though I prefer the look of the twinkly lights over the Govee lights, I would rather spend my money on the Govee string lights, and let me explain why. Simply put, it's their app. The Govee app is miles ahead of the Twinkly app. I cannot tell you how many times the Twinkly app has messed up or just won't connect to my phone. Or maybe it connects, but I can't change the scene. I'm only able to change the color. Overall, just because of their app, even though I like how the twinkly lights look better than the Govee lights, I would rather buy the Govee lights over the twinkly lights just because of their app functionality, and their app is just so much better than the Twinkly app. So another difference between these lights is the length. So I believe the Govee lights have about 4 inches of space between each LED. The twinkly lights, it's about 3.5. I'll take measurements and show you. So you're going to get more light real estate with the twinkly lights, meaning the lights will just be closer together. Yes, it's about 4 inches with the Govee light, 4 inches of space between each LED. Twinkly lights actually look like it's about 3 inches, a 3-inch difference. I thought it was 3.5, but no, that's definitely not 3.5. That's 3 inches, so that's a whole inch of more space without lights that you have with the Govee lights. Wow. The Govee string lights are on this tree, and there are 1,500 lights in total. We had to use 2 separate string light kits. One of them has 1,000 lights on it, and the other has 500 LEDs. I'm just going to cycle through some of the scenes for you so you can get a feel for all the scenes in the Govee app. I can't do all of them, but I'll just do a few. The lights do look good in person. I think the camera doesn't do that good of a job showing how pretty the lights are. They definitely look better in person. And this is not a sponsored video at all. I bought these lights out of my own pocket. So let me circle back to the comparison between the two apps. I have a lot of problems with the Twinkly app. Oftentimes, it's very difficult for me to connect to the app. And when I do connect, I am unable to use their scenes properly. I don't know if it's because the Twinkly controller is too far away from the Wi-Fi, but the Govee lights are further away from the Wi-Fi than the Twinkly lights are. As you can see, this tree is on the far side of the sidewalk away from the house. And the Twinkly lights are on this bush right here directly next to the house. So I don't think the issue is with the distance, because the Govee lights, I never have a problem with either set of the Govee string lights. And Govee just has so many more features and scenes in their app than Twinkly does. If Twinkly was to step their game up so that their app would be on par with Govee's, like just equal, it doesn't have to be better, but just equal, I would go with the Twinkly lights all day long because I like the way their lights look. I think their lights look better than the Govee lights, but their app is just so crappy, in my opinion, and I can't connect to it, that it's just not worth it. I just wanted to show you all how I was able to get power to this tree without putting the extension cord on the ground, in case any of you all watching this wants to do the same thing and light up a Christmas tree that is technically not on your property. Maybe it's across the sidewalk, or maybe you just don't want the extension cord on the ground for some reason. This is how you would do it. So I want to deck this tree out with 1,500 Christmas lights, but there's a big old sidewalk in the way, so I can't just lay an extension cord on a sidewalk. Basically, what I need to do is run the extension cord from the top of the tree and feed it over to the wall somewhere, up near the window most likely, and then run the power cord down to this junction box. This screw eye will be screwed into the tree, which will connect with this steel rope through a carabiner. So this is what the side going into the tree will look like. And I'm showing it to you now because it will be difficult to get a good camera angle all the way at the top of the tree. Okay, now let's talk about the brick wall. The screw eye will go into the brick, but I will need an anchor. So I'm going to drill into the brick and put this anchor in, and then use this to screw into the brick, right? So this anchor will hold it. And then I'm going to have this tensioner. So this tensioner will go like that, right? And then same deal, I have to connect these two. So I'll just use the good old carabiner again. This is what it will look like on the brick wall. I'll start by drilling a hole in this tree. Now I'll put the screw eye in the tree. Make sure it's nice and snug. And now I'll connect the steel rope, the screw eye, and carabiner. I'm just tightening the carabiner now. And because this is brick, I need to use a punch to make a centered hole for my starting drill point. Using a punch makes it so much easier to drill into concrete or brick. Now that I've drilled the hole, I'll put the anchor in, and I'm just using a drywall anchor in the mortar. Now that the anchor is in, I can start screwing this in. This is getting really difficult to turn now, so I'm going to get my vice grips. Oh, that looks pretty good. This is difficult to do while recording, but the tensioner is hooked onto the screw eye, so now I can connect the rope to the carabiner. Okay, so it's hooked on. Alright. Now I just have to tighten this tensioner. You'll see it getting tighter as I keep turning this shaft. This will make the rope taut. That's pretty tight, guys. Yeah, that is pretty tight. So the carabiner has been tightened. The entire purpose of putting this rope up is so that it will support the weight of the extension cord. So I'm just going to go get the cord and some zip ties so I can hang it up. The extension cord is up, and this is what it looks like. I'll give you a closer view of it. The zip ties came in really handy. They gave it a clean and straight professional look. And if you ever wanted to put up something like string lights, this is a very similar process of what you would do. And another thing, guys, if you're installing something like this, a waterproof outlet cover, I see a lot of people skip this step. You want to caulk this area where the wall and the box, the cover meets. I see a lot of people skip this step. If you don't caulk all around here, it's technically not completely waterproof, okay? So you want to make sure you caulk all around here. I know it's like an ugly job, but I mean, it works.